Will Sei get his dream of becoming a striker back? Will Nagi get his redemption arc? And will Rin reject the offer from Real? Those are just some of the hot takes I will be answering today, as I'm back with yet another hot take and theory video, as I will go over the most exciting ones. Also, before we start, recently I took a look at the channel, and there's not that much content outside of chapter reviews and leaks on the channel. Now I'm super glad that you enjoy those videos. However, I want to bring something more as well. So I thought about doing videos like this every week or every other week, where I go over and talk about some comments and say what I think about them. So please, if you have more theories or hot takes, please leave them down below in the comments, and I will use them for the next video. You can also feel free to leave other video ideas that you would like to see me do, as that would be greatly appreciated. Also, I just want to say thank you to everyone who sent in their comments, as without you, this video wouldn't be possible. Anyway, with that long intro out of the way, make sure to leave a like and a comment as well as join the Discord server. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. Alright, so let's start with this comment, which says that Nagi will have a comeback arc on the team that signed him. He's going to turn into an anti-hero. Now if Nagi doesn't get saved by the voting system, which is the biggest theory currently, then I would agree that he would join the club that bid on him, which most likely is Munchen City, and then go absolutely insane, while the other Blue Lock players are away in the U20 World Cup. Nagi will use that to his advantage and train like a wild beast, and somehow get ahead of them. However, I'm also not too sure about the whole anti-hero aspect of it, because if he becomes an anti-hero, which Kunigami was supposed to be, and flops like he did in the Neo Egoist League, then I feel like it will be a real letdown. I don't think that Nagi fits the whole anti-hero aspect, and I would much rather that he simply goes to the club, trains, and finally comes back and shows the other Blue Lock characters how much he's grown. But I'll make another more dedicated video where I talk about all of this soon. The next hot take says that I still truly believe the player who destroyed Itoshi Sai's dream is a young genius player who will probably be the final villain of the U20 World Cup arc, where Isagi and the whole Japanese team, including Sei, face off against that player's national team, most likely Spain. Now I really like this one, because firstly, we all thought that it was Luna who crushed Sei and made him change his dream. And don't get me wrong, it might still be him. However, with the age difference between the two of them, it feels like a reach, because why would Luna bother with someone who's several years younger than he is? And in the latest episode Nagi chapter, he seemed like a great guy as he went over to Chigiri to check up on him after he fell down. Also, like always, I'm sold that Sai will play in the U20 World Cup, because if he doesn't, then he's just stupid. The main reason people have for him not playing is from the beginning of the series, when he said that there's no player in Japan who is worthy of his passes. However, we clearly saw that he changed his mind about Isagi in the U20 game. And not to mention that he's without a doubt followed the Neo Egoist League and seen everybody's growth. Also, to the second part of the question, I really like for it to be an unknown player that crushed Sei's dream, as it will add a lot more depth to when we get to see said player. And if him and Sei faces off in the final, I feel like that will be an insane matchup, as Sei will do everything in his power to crush him. The hot take after that is that Rin might actually reject the offer from Real. Now this is a bit tricky to answer, as we haven't gotten too much information on the offers yet. But I feel like we will get it in the next chapter. Anyway, if Rin has the chance to reject the offer, then I'm still not sure that he would. I mean, sure, he hates his brother to his core. However, I think that Rin will see it more as a chance to prove himself yet again against Sei, than to simply run away and not take the offer. Now if Ego would offer something for the Blue Lock players who don't accept the offer, like some insane training schedule in Blue Lock, which might help them evolve even further, then Rin might value that more than joining Real. However, we also can't forget that the World Cup really isn't far away, so I'm not sure if we will get some sort of training arc with the club right now, as I feel like it's more likely to come after the World Cup. However, with that said, I do feel like Rin will take that offer, because even though he hates Sei with a burning passion, not taking the offer would kind of signal defeat against Sei. The next one says that Shidou won't be in the Japan U20 World Cup lineup, and this is where it gets really tricky. Shidou wasn't able to play with Blue Lock against the U20 Japan team because he and Rin weren't a duo that worked together, and I still don't think that they are able to coexist. However, with that in mind, we did see Shidou pass Rin in the PXG match, which was really unexpected. Personally, I don't see how Ego can make a team with both Rin and Shidou. However, at the same time, I don't see Ego just neglecting Shidou, as that would be kind of dumb, as from the salary we know that he's a top 3 player in Blue Lock. Honestly, I'm really interested in seeing how Ego plans to make the team, as there are so many strikers whose egos just wouldn't work together. Like, for example, I don't see Kunigami and Shidou being on the same team. Not Baru and Shidou either, so with that in mind, I feel like Ego will either create different teams for each game, or he will use Shidou as a joker card, as he did with Baru in the U20 Japan match. But honestly, right now we have so many strikers, so I really don't have a clue what Ego will cook up for the lineup, but I can confidently say that I know that it will be mind-blowing. Hey, it's Natsu, mid-editing here, and I just wanted to pause the video to ask you to subscribe if you haven't already, and while you're already down there, why not leave a like as well? The next one says that Nico is the best center back from the Blue Lock project, not including the U20 players, since they weren't part of it from the beginning. Now this is a heavy debate between him and Ryu. In my video where I talked about my thoughts on the rankings, I said that I thought that Nico should have been higher up than Ryu. However, I got so much good feedback, as a lot of people disagreed, and said that Ryu's physique is a lot better than Nico's. And with height being a pretty important thing for a defender, I can definitely see the argument for Ryu, as Nico is pretty much like a dwarf as of right now. However, with that said, I'm pretty sure that Nico is the youngest out of everyone, so he has time to grow. Anyway, back to the topic, I think that both Nico and Ryu offer a very different set of skill sets. As Nico has meta vision, which helps a lot in the defense, I would honestly say that he's like the Awashi of the Blue Lock verse, while Ryu is taller and therefore also plays a vital role in the defense. However, if I'm honest, then I would probably say that Ryu is better as of right now, but without a doubt, Nico will climb to be the best one soon. The next one says that we will be introduced to the rest of the new Gen 11, and I'm super sure that it will happen without a doubt. However, I do feel like it will be in the U20 World Cup, where we will see everyone introduced, because that would make the most sense, as all of them will be there representing their country, and getting introduced to all of the new Gen 11s is something which I'm truly looking forward to, because as of right now, we have only seen 3 out of the 11, which means that there's 8 left, and when you just think about how insane Kaiser, Lorenzo and Sei has been, and much hype they have around them, it just leaves you wanting more, and wondering if the others are just as good or even better than they are. It would be insane if some countries has multiple of new Gen 11s in their team. However, I do think that each country will have one new Gen 11 each, and that will make it so entertaining. I really do feel like the U20 World Cup arc is when Blue Lock will go absolutely insane and will skyrocket even more in popularity. The next one says that the Blue Lock players who lost will make a comeback. Now the only argument for someone I can see making a comeback is of course Nagi. Now with that said, I really hope that the ones who have lost don't get reintroduced somehow, because we saw how it went with Kunigami and how much hype he had only for him to fall flat. Also, it would really raise the intents and the stakes for the Blue Lock players, as before it has been mostly no names who have gotten eliminated. But now that honestly good players doesn't qualify, it makes it so that the Blue Lock players who are remaining really have to level up their game, because if they don't, then they will end up like the others. The one after that says that Isagi will bring Sei's dream of being a striker back. Now on this one, I feel quite conflicted. Some of you might not know this, but I'm a massive Sei fan, and I would love for Isagi to get Sei fired up and take up his dream of becoming the best striker in the world again. However, I just don't see it happening, because that would make his and Rin's fight pretty much useless, and it would feel so anticlimactic for Sei to just tell Rin that he is back to becoming the best in the world again, because after what has happened between them, even if Sei were to take up that dream again, I don't see them becoming friendly just yet. I do feel like it will happen towards the end, but still, Sei getting his dream back would just complicate it even more. Not to mention that Sei chasing his dream because he wasn't good enough adds some realism to the story, as that's truly something that could happen in the true world. However, if Sei got his dream back, I wouldn't be mad. I just don't see it working out as the story is now. Now the last one I want to cover says that Charles's salary would be around 100 to 150 million yen if he had one, assisting every goal that PXG made in the Neo Egoist League, blocking Isagi, Hiyori, and Raichi multiple times, and of course, stopping the Kaiser impact. Now, firstly, assisting every goal that PXG made is crazy work, but also I feel like him getting that salary is more than deserved, as even though Rin and Shidou were the ones who actually scored the goals, Charles made everything possible thanks to his crazy passing ability. So him having a salary like 100 to 150 million yen is more than deserved in my opinion. Now sorry that this video was a bit short, however, I will try to make the upcoming ones longer. I just kind of needed to get something out as I didn't have a video for the weekend, but I hope that it was still very enjoyable to watch. Also, please tell me in the comments what you think about these hot takes and if you disagree with me on some of them. Anyway, if you like Blue Lock and videos like this, then I would highly suggest you subscribe to this channel, and while you are at it, leave a comment and a like, as it helps out with the algorithm a ton. And if you are curious to see another video of mine, then please watch the video that will be popping up on the screen now. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.